Hi folks, I'm Franco Tenelli, Science of Singing, and this is step 3 of appoggio step by step. Step 3, unusual sensations. Before we go to the step 3, unusual sensations, let me remind you that this appoggio step by step cannot be just understood by different steps separately. You need to follow step number 1, step number 2, step number 3. So the pre-step is to learn how to control your diaphragm or how to consciously control your breath. And the step number 1 is to find an appoggio zone or appoggio resonance or a chiaro-scuro zone. They're all synonyms. Natural zone that naturally produces so-called chiaro-scuro sound. And then step number 2, through support, develop this range of chiaroscuro, appoggio zone, sometimes called voix sombrée, to put this and to make it to full range. We have to speak about step number 3, which is the most important step in developing your appoggio technique. Is understanding your sensations. If you pay attention to your vocal sensations, and as I mentioned, it was called as vocal ear, then you definitely can fasten up the process of the vocal education. If you want to know how appoggio feels, you have to experience appoggio. There is no other way. So you are in catch-22. Before you experience it, you're really searching it. You're trying to find it. And there's nothing unusual about it. Today's university tell you that everything you need to know is there in a method. When we listen, read, and hear great singers, for some reasons, they totally disagree with that. And one of the opinions of Enrico Caruso's, the singing is a great experiment. You see, appoggio is not just a technique or sensation. Of course it is, but the real appoggio sound comes out as free and natural resonating sound. And that's how appoggio teacher knows that you're singing with appoggio technique. The student not always feels the right amount of chiaroscuro. His voice might be a little bit darker than it's need to be. Successfully projecting on stage, you might not know exactly. You might feel comfortable just supporting your voice and trap your voice into your mouth. And the resonance, it's possible also. I mentioned that in my previous programs. For that reason, you need a teacher who will tell you that you are actually singing with chiaroscuro sound. You need to be confirmed, because you cannot tell that from recordings either. Recordings lie. It's an important part to know how the novice appoggio singer, the one who just realized within few days or a week what is real appoggio support and how the student feels. And my own sensations and sensations of the singers that I work with as colleagues and students, they are kind of the same in a way that those who sing appoggio feel like they totally change their technique. The confusing part is that instead of controlling your voice from the throat, you start controlling your voice from your support. And again, this is nothing totally new. Even those singers who don't use 100% appoggio, they still control their voice with the support. The difference is that the appoggio singer is totally I repeat, totally controls us from support. Of course, sometimes singer supports the voice, but he doesn't know the right amount of the blend that causes so-called chiaroscuro voice to come out, and so he needs, absolutely needs a teacher at that moment. If not a regular teacher, but at least he needs to get to his teacher at least once a month to just check it out. What's going on with his voice is very important. As a teacher, I have this funny, may call it funny, feedback from my student. Of course, I start teaching them theory and the real appoggio from the very, very start. And I tell them that appoggio is total support, that it's very physical. It's not physical on the throat, but it's physical on the body, especially on the low abdominal muscles and the diaphragm. I explain that all the relative sensations they might have and so on. And yet, after explanations and studying and learning all the time, the singer who realizes eventually what appoggio is comes to you and says, "Oh, maestro, it is physical. It's very physical. I feel so tired when I'm doing this." And of course I always ask the question, where do you feel tired? "Oh, I feel tired in the support area." It's always the same. The people, they understand what I'm talking about, they understand the stable larynx, the logic of stable larynx, they understand the importance of the balanced support rather than just one-directional low abdominal support. They understand it all. But when it comes to doing appoggio, it seems that the truth eludes them rather. The truth lies in experiencing it. Our guidance and through the exercises, it's like eureka. Oh, it's totally different sensations. And I want you to hear exactly, I didn't lose the opportunity when my student came to me with true appoggio sensations for the first time. I decided to tape it and to show it to you. Years ago, my student, Carl Miguel Maldonado, and he's talking about his first sensations of appoggio. Okay, now you're studying appoggio technique, and we all know that appoggio is physical technique. And yes, I remember that I was telling you from the start that appoggio is physical and you have to really work with your low abdominals and diaphragmical muscles. Yeah. And we tried to do it for quite months. Now, today, you eventually arrived at feeling and sensing it. So I just, why I'm asking you this, because I want the students who study appoggio technique to experience and to understand that transition when it happens. What do you feel at that transition?
Before I was thinking I had this technique, but before today I really but I feel it more in the back, but I never had this feeling. It's really hard, like here it's gonna explode, but you have to stay here really calm and everything. But yeah, like singing 2 minutes and I have to stop because I can't support more.
Yes, so you're stopping because you feel physically exhausted.
Yeah, I'm tired.
Yeah, that's a very good and very first sign of real appoggio, because every student who whether it's a physical student, physically developed, you're physically up to note, you go to the gym and everything, but you see, and you have a very strong stomach, right? Yeah. But I want to also to send a message to those who think that if they're physically strong, they must have appoggio like almost naturally. What do you say to them?
Yeah. I think so. I never lose my breath like this. I have difficulties breathing after doing like vocalize. So yeah, it's really hurting my back at the moment. Yes,
yeah. And that's a good sign. That's not a bad sign. Yeah. Yes, and we actually were able today to sing 2 steps up. Yeah. Things that we didn't do.
And I feel really free here.
Okay. Okay, so you felt, in comparison to the previous sensations, you
Yeah.
didn't feel the throat at all?
No, I don't feel throat. I feel I have not the. I'm not stable because I don't know. It's new for me, but I don't feel for the first time here when I'm doing eye notes.
Okay, that's the start of appoggio. You feel it at the back. You feel the
Yeah, I feel
tremendous pressure.
Yeah, but I feel it too in front, but less.
Okay, okay.
But it's shaking.
Yes.
The whole body is shaking.
Yeah, that's an interesting experience because I want you to, you know, after a few months from here, we'll see how it progresses in you, because you don't. This is the real appoggio, the first appoggio feelings, because every student who achieved the real appoggio had the same feelings. They always come with a surprise and telling me, "Oh, this is so physical."
Yeah.
I told you it was physical, but no, I didn't even
Not that much.
imagine that it was so physical. And then the obvious right away advantage of this is that you don't feel your voice in the throat. It feels like you don't sing with the throat at all.
Yeah, I feel it in the back.
So what conclusions can we make out of this? Singer starts understanding his own voice only after he starts feeling it, sensing it. And at the same time he may be confused because the new sensations of the appoggio may raise some questions. Am I doing the right things or not? Is it so? Absolutely, at that time you need somebody to confirm your experimentation, if you like. And otherwise you might be going to the wrong direction. So sensing, feeling appoggio and doing it is one thing, and understanding it is another. That's why these sensations unfortunately cannot be transformed into a video lesson that will give you total information about appoggio. I wish it would, but it can't. One of the reasons that the classical voice is so difficult to learn, if you like, is because of this sensations and lack of sensations. Thank you very much. That was Franco Tenelli, appoggio step by step. Until next time.